Hello everyone, this is RaySpace and welcome back to Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. We have had Sim Update 2, which includes many fixes, really way too many to actually list in this video. It would be a very long video for me to just read them out loud, and I really can't make that very entertaining. But many of the fixes were crash fixes, a lot of them were also specific fixes to planes, but I was mostly interested in the crash fixes. Hopefully that means I can fly more than 2 hours without risking the game crashing. So that is my goal. That's the reason why I haven't been playing Flight Sim 2024 so much, is because I can't do long flights with it without it crashing. And then of course, just the mere risk of a crash makes it very unpleasant to even think about trying to start a long flight, right? You're wasting your time at that point. And then, of course, going back to Flight Sim 2020 is unpleasant. I got 2024 with its nicer graphics. I mean, you can debate how good certain things are, but overall it looks nicer. And so I wanted to use it, and it loads faster, but yeah, I didn't want to go back to Flight Sim 2020 that often, and so that's the situation I've been in. I'm sure many other people have been caught between these two, frustrated. One thing I decided that I should note is that after Sim Update 1, I had frequent crashes at start, and it turns out it was a combination of different, well, it was many different planes. I know it's not just one of these that I'm about to mention, it's a couple, but not all of them are at fault. I've just disabled them for now because I don't know which ones are at fault. But if you have any of these, try disabling them if you had trouble starting up. So the A45 or 145, the AN225, unfortunately, I would really like to keep that, but I think that one's all right. I think that one's all right, but just to be safe. ATR, the Model 18, a lot of the Coronado planes and Airplane Heaven planes are a little bit iffy. Airplane Heaven planes definitely iffy. 307 Stratoliner has a lot of issues. The 707 just flat out doesn't work, the last time I checked. And so a lot of these were working when the game was first released. They just don't work after Sim Update 1, or they had the potential for causing the game to crash right at the start with Sim Update 1. So the C-130, just leave off that. I mean, Captain Sim hasn't claimed that it's Flight Sim 2024 compatible anyway, so just to be safe. The Stagger Wing, the Dornier DO31 definitely didn't work when I tried it at the beginning before Sim Update 1. Fokker F7. The GB I actually did use initially successfully early on, but then it's a Coronado plane, so I'm leaving it off for now. But it does say that it's been verified, so it's probably alright. Same with the JU-52. It is interesting that the tri-motor isn't verified. The Airplane Heaven ones generally aren't. I'm disappointed by the Innie builds planes, though. I really wish they would check those out and fix them. The Kit Fox, definitely not. That has other problems. It definitely isn't working right. I've left off the Reno Air Race thing, about the T6 class. I think I've got some of the Reno Air Race stuff activated. The Waco by Coronado, and that's it. So I do have a fair amount of other planes that do work, and actually I've got the C-46. I better double check that, but at least it doesn't crash the game right at the start. So I've got the Coronado C-170. I've got plenty of Coronado planes apparently, so they're probably working, or one or two of them are an issue. But if you have those are ones that I have in the potential problem list. Okay. So just for you to know. Now, what am I going to do to test this? Well, as it turns out, DC Designs has had a update to their F-15, and it is specifically compatible with Flight Sim 2024. And I would like to do a long flight, but I really want to test its range first. So I'm going to test its range on a risky sort of situation. You can see where it thinks its range limit is. And let me check that it's fully fueled. So they've added this EX version to the F-15. They didn't have that originally. I don't know how EX it actually is. And I've got it fully fueled here, so we'll see. It says that that's the range. And, oh. Well, speaking of issues with the game, I just checked that it was fully fueled, and then it took out fuel. Okay. Did you do that? You did that, but it didn't increase the range here. So there are problems. Anyway, I'm gonna try and get to Cork, but I'm going to try to go supersonic, so it's not gonna be 7 hours, and we're going to see whether that works out for me. I'll start a little bit earlier so it's daylight all the way.
Romeo Alpha.
So at least the interior looks different from the other F-15s, right? They have a F-15EX sort of screen up front. So they have made that change to the cockpit, and it's not trivial. Right now, all the textures haven't... Since they've had the sim update, it's struggling a little bit. Normally, I will have had St. John's International cached, but it hasn't cached everything. I don't think it's got all the stuff on the screen proper either, so I'm gonna wait a little bit. Let's take a look outside. They had changed the nature of the rolling cache, so that might be delaying when the textures pop up, but yeah. That's also a problem people have had with the game. So, here we are. The F-15 is looking good. Let me double check that I have all the fuel I'm supposed to have. I don't. I mean, maybe we can't have the CFT at the same time as we have the tanks, or what? Come on. Well, now it's got the conformal tanks on. Alright. As it should. Now we're fully loaded, hopefully. Inside... I guess that's all right to go. I haven't seen the screen before. This is the first time I'm using the EX version. Probably this is not gonna be that long a flight. Like, it's not gonna be pushing the 2-hour limit or anything like that. Unless, you know, I have to. We'll see. I don't know how long this can last on going very fast and everything. Oops, I guess I'm really heavy. I would normally expect to be able to take off at that point, but okay. No afterburner, no afterburner, okay. There's no separate toggle for the afterburner necessary. I don't think it's helping me out with my navigation, this screen. That's a bit disappointing. Well, I guess they're just relying on the tab being the thing. The lights are all paired together, interesting. Fuel. Okay. Well, there we are, trying to cross the Atlantic here. Oh, it had the fuel on a really little screen down there. So I didn't have to put it up here. But I prefer it up here. I can't read that down there very well. I'm still off of afterburner. I'm not using afterburner yet. We're at Mach 0.9. I am going to light afterburner now. The lightest still... Oh, there we go. Still not the best plume out of there. Well, we can't really break Mach 1 going up like that. 45,000 feet is respectable for a height to do this without using too much fuel. We're past Mach 1. Well, Mach 1.7. It's very fidgety. Ground speed more than 1,000 knots right now. Let's see how high and fast I can push it. So about 10 pounds per nautical mile. I have 30,000 pounds right now. Let's see how well we can push this. I should specify that I got the F-15 from the Just Flight website, the publisher's website. So this is the DC Designs F-15, not some other F-15. And so from the website there comes an installer, and that installer gives you a choice between installing for Flight Sim 2020 or Flight Sim 2024. And this is, let me check the version. This is version 1.9.1, and it was released yesterday. It was a minor fix. The more major fix was in April. They added the F-15EX Eagle 2 back in November of last year, actually. I just hadn't had a chance to play around with it. We're at 61,000 feet, Mach 1.9. I'll pour on more gas. Still aiming for about 10 pounds per nautical mile right now. I can go up to 15, it looks like, at this altitude, which means at 15 I'd still have 2,000 nautical miles of range, which is way more than the map was telling me that I had. And probably if I play my cards right, this could clear a whole flight at Mach 2 from New York to Paris. I'll try to do that some other time. It probably ought not to. Let me just check what the range of it actually is supposed to be. Oh no, it does have a ferry range of 3,000 nautical miles, so yeah, maybe. So this is performing about right then. It has more range than I thought it did. But I don't think that that range is intended to be with the afterburner on and going at Mach 2. I'm not sure about that. I'm now just using full throttle. And full throttle at this height, 65,000 feet, is giving me a consumption rate of 12 pounds per nautical mile. Or a current endurance of 3 hours, it says there. And I still have 30,000 pounds of fuel. It took remarkably little fuel for me to get up to this height. Yep, right now it's saying 10 pounds per nautical mile at this height. Going at Mach 2.16 and still climbing. We are on track. Ground speed 1,250 knots. I'm pretty satisfied with 70,000 feet, but I'm not too sure the plane is. We'll see. Mach 2.3. It's getting a little bit of a wobble. That is not me. That is the plane that's shaking right there. Uh-oh. It's decided to do a thing. It's decided to flame out there. I think it might have a forced... I don't want to go beyond 70,000 feet or beyond Mach 2. Well, probably Mach 2.5 should be fine. Let me just try and reignite. Okay. I'm just doing a forced startup. See if it can start up. Oh, we've got some engine, left engine doing something. Okay. Well, I can't get the right engine working right. Let me see if I can figure out how to help it out. Well, let me try and flick the master switch on and off. Okay, I think we've got it. But I'm in a bad sort of pickle. Okay, we've got both engines back, but maybe 70,000 feet it's got a hard limit on. Well, that's one way of doing it, as far as making sure we can't go to insane heights. I complained about the F-15 and other DC Designs planes in regards to that before. Also the SC Designs F-16, and maybe now they have that limit. Or maybe there's some other cause of the engine flame out right there. But for now I'm going to assume that that's just a limit on height and proceed from there. The air just got too thin for it. Okay, so this time I'll keep it a little bit safer and hang out at 65,000. Let me Let's see if we can stabilize there. Currently consuming 11 pounds per nautical mile, not at full throttle. We're pretty close to Mach 2 right now. Now, if it flames out again, maybe it's because of the Mach number. Engines can get too hot, that's one reason why they might shut down. Though, technically you'd rather just they throttle down automatically if they're getting too hot. Or they just get choked because there's not enough air because we're too high and the air's too thin. So the better behavior in both cases would be if the computer detects it, then throttles down the engine forcefully instead of letting the engine die on you, but anyway. 616 knots indicated, 1,350 knots ground speed. Certainly have a lot more range than I thought we were going to have based on what it was showing on the map, which is not a surprise. It's never right, basically. Every time I trim down, though, it very quickly starts increasing vertical speed. Just forcibly pitch down a bit. I don't want to get to that 70,000 mark. We've got that wobble. Well, I'll try to get it to Mach 2.5 and not go beyond that. Oh, now it quit on me. I think this time it was speed. Mach 2.4 was too much. So that's a bit more disappointing, but I can deal with it. I'm try and start them up again. But I didn't see any warning. You would hope that there was a warning. Our oil pressure is definitely low. Those gauges down there. Well, I'm not getting any help here. Oh, now the map is doing something weird. Look at this. That's not right. Well, I'm midway through the trip, apparently. Somewhat. You have takeoff and landing checklist there. Engine, left engine crank and right engine crank. But that is not successful. Alright. Well, I'm going to try again. And try to limit how fast I go and see if that works out. But maybe we just can't keep the afterburner on full flight like that. Maybe they have a limit like that. Let's see. Alright, I'm going to try this again, but this time I'm going to limit it to Mach 2 and maybe take it out of afterburner if I can. So we're not going to push it quite as hard or as high and see if that's okay or not. I'm not sure. I'm not sure that'll do the trick or anything. Well, the flight path is still sort of floating in the middle of nowhere and there's no relationship to our origin or destination. Don't know why that is. I mean, it could be some other mod that's interfering with the tab. That's possible. One thing I have is the sim brief dispatch. I wouldn't expect that to, but I just wanted to point out that there are things that are modifying this. Alright, I'm going to punch it. Okay, first of all, let me just get the anti-ice on, just in case that was a problem. But now that we're at Mach 2.2, I'm gonna take it out of Afterburner and see how well we do. Maybe a little bit of Afterburner, but not full Afterburner. It doesn't really keep the engine any cooler though. Is it even worth throttling down? Is it helping anything if I throttle down? Will it save me from the engine quitting on me? I'm not sure. I'm gonna hang out at 60,000, much more modest, and Mach 2.145 as we have it right now. I've throttled down a little bit, half the potential fuel consumption. And we'll see if it holds out. If it doesn't hold out this time, I'm just not gonna keep on with it for now. I looked at the manual, I didn't see what the rules were exactly for the engine dying, so. Right now we're only using 6 pounds per nautical mile, so in theory that means that I have a 5,000 nautical mile range just like this. Ground speed 1234, 1,234 knots. Alright, status update. I am still hanging out about 61,000 feet, Mach 2.178. Well, I'm there, and I should turn a little bit. Try and be careful about that. At some point, I should probably try the autopilot. 6 pounds per nautical mile, so more than 4,000 nautical miles, and chugging along at Mach 2.195. Let me see if I'm right that autopilot is going to have. So altitude hold. Oh, autopilot master altitude hold. Let's see. It doesn't really seem to be holding my current altitude. Autopilot page. Well, oh, there. Altitude hold. Altitude value. Well, not 0, please. Can I get 60,000? Okay, I entered 60,000. Alright, so we have to use that to interact with this in order to get hitting hold. Not what I want to do, though. Okay, no. Forget that. Oh yeah, heading hold doesn't seem to be doing what I expect it to do, but at least the altitude hold is fine. So apparently turning this knob does change the heading, but I don't know what it necessarily changes the heading to. There's no indication of what heading setting it is. It would be nice if when I hovered over it, it would give some indication, but no, that's apparently not the case. Well, we need more southward heading. I don't know what that sets to, but it's in the right general direction. Okay, that might be a bit too much. Well, now at this zoom it's got it at the right place. This zoom it doesn't. Well, at least the autopilot does something resembling what I want it to, but it's weird. And super shaky. Well, I don't want to jinx it, but it's looking good so far. We are much closer to Ireland now. 60,000 feet, as set, nearly Mach 2.2. That seems stable. At least so far it's been okay. The afterburner is still on, it's just not full on afterburner. It's about halfway. Enough to do Mach 2.2. So about 4,000 pounds per hour per engine. So we have a little less than 3 hours left, which is lots. So this clearly has more than a 3,000 nautical mile range when going at Mach 2.2. Is one thing I can say. I have two contenders for the fastest plane in Flight Sim 2024, this and the F-111. There exists the MiG-25 from GKS, but that's not officially Flight Sim 2024 compatible, and I don't have it either, but the MiG-25 is really fast. There is no SR-71 for Flight Sim, and the Dark Star is not compatible with Flight Sim 2024. It's only compatible with Flight Sim 2020. At Mach 2.2, this is faster than Concorde. It also has more range than Concorde, apparently, so do tell me if you know of another plane that is available for Flight Sim 2024 that could be in the fastest Atlantic crossing list, or is it the F-15 versus the F-111? Those are the two that I know of. We need something Mach 2.2 or above. Speed-wise, MiG-25 is okay, but it's an interceptor. There's no way it has the range. Well, I wouldn't say no way. It might have the range, because a lot of things have extra range in Flight Sim. Both this and the F-111 have way more range than they ought to. It seems really hard to rein in the Mach 2 plus planes as far as their range is concerned. I don't know why that is, but... So this flight was not really pushing the stability of the game question, right? Because the crashes generally only happen after more than 2 hours. So I will have to try to fly this a longer distance. But I didn't really know that it could fly more than 2 hours at Mach 2.2 necessarily. Now I do, so we will have to see how far it can really go. Probably very similar to the F-111. But we're at 1,200 knots, and so the flight time was about an hour and a half. Alright, my little display there can see Ireland. So maybe I should start descending. This could probably descend pretty quickly though with its air brakes, so I don't need to rush that. It's nice and fuel efficient up here. Alright, let's just take off the autopilot. And throttling down. Still got lots and lots of fuel, more than half of my fuel left. Okay. And I'm going to plunge down dramatically. So let's do that. Well, air brake out. Hopefully there's no speed limit to using that. I'm not moving the plane. The plane is shaking all on its own. It's not thrilled. We are subsonic. Okay, speed brake in. I think I see the runway there. I really need to turn the fly-by-wire off. It's really jerking around. No, it's probably not the time, but yeah. Fly-by-wire is a bit irritating. Uh-oh. The game is doing bad things suddenly. Right when I was trying to land. Okay, the game crashed. Instruction at something, a really long hexadecimal number, reference memory at another hexadecimal thing. The memory could not be read. Click OK to terminate program. Well, I I think that counts as fail for the sim update. I was not expecting that. Now, Cork is a handcrafted airport, so it might have been something to do with the fact that it was loading something at the airport, which could be complicated because there are other assets there. But yeah, well, see, I do have mods, so maybe I should have like obviously the plane itself. But you know, Flight Sim is good with mods. It's something that we would like to use with Flight Sim. Oh well. Anyway, with that disappointment, I'll wrap it up and say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.